This is the Beyond the Story podcast, a show that goes way beyond the story.
And now, Sebastian Ross.
Richard Moore's in the house. What's up, dude?
Hello, mates. Good to speak to you, and nice to finally do this face to face. So we've been in touch for a little while, haven't we?
We certainly have, man. The power of LinkedIn.
Absolutely, it's amazing for connections with people all over the world, just like they're around the corner.
100%. And when I started to Gary Vee is my mentor over the past. I met him about 10 or 11 years ago, way back in the Crush It days. And I've really followed his blueprint ever since then. And now I see him at events when I'm emceeing. It's just bananas how it all fell together. But to continue to follow his advice as far as what is next and his consistent conversation of LinkedIn, which it has been for like 2 years now. And then I said, okay, fine. I'm finally going to get over to LinkedIn, even though I've had an account since 2004. But I haven't done anything with it. So I'm going to get over there and see what's happening, you know? And I discovered individuals like yourself, Shay Rowbottom, Sally Illingworth, Judy Fox. And I thought, wait a second. I learned one thing early on when I started my brand a decade ago, and that was get around the people that you can learn from, that you want to build relationships with. And the way that you're going to be able to do that is you're going to start a podcast and you're going to interview those people. So that allowed me to forge relationships and be able to get my foot in the door when I wouldn't ordinarily be able to do so, because it's not a matter of me trying to sell you something. It's a matter of me trying to sell you or sell my, sell what you do to my audience, which who doesn't want to do that, right? So
I think what's really nice about the approach is that you end up validating the connection. Because a lot of people connected, but it doesn't actually mean anything. You really validate it by having this, because then we're able to actually properly bond as two people.
Correct. I love technology. It's making life a little crazier and a little easier at the same time. When I say crazy, hashtag coronavirus. So, so let's help our listeners better understand. Let's back up a little bit. And I really want to better understand how your story really came to fruition, how you got your start, and then how it brought you to present day and what you're currently focused with regarding working with brands and corporations and improving their overall sales process, and at the same time being a LinkedIn expert rock star. So if we can back up, I'll give you the stage for a second here to help our listeners better understand.
Cheers. I will deliberately omit a lot because there's a lot of years. The very short potted version is I'm not meant to be here at all. When I was at university, the plan was to do my PhD, stay in academia, be a lecturer, write books, stuff like that. And I didn't get funding, so I had to get a job. And the first interview I found was the one I took, which was selling online marketing back in 2002, 2003. So very early on.
Right.
And
banners and whatnot.
Say again, sorry?
Banners and whatnot.
Yeah, it was all banners. It was all profiles and storefronts and search engine optimization, things like that,
Sure.
Which at the time for many was like witchcraft. People were like, how do you even do this? Whereas now it's just like any 15-year-old could do it.
Sure.
But so it was very interesting back then, because it was a world where people would spend a fortune on a print ad, but would never spend any money online. So you had to really kind of sell them the internet, which is still being done today, in fact. So it was fun to do that, and I learned to my craft, and I learned at the sharp end from the trenches how to sell to decision makers. It was cold calling on the phone, 90s style, just CEOs of businesses and selling them this thing. And learning that art, which really is, led me to manage teams, move around, selling different things in the city. And then about 2011 or 12, I pivoted out to run my own thing. And I had already been dabbling a bit with offline consulting. And then I decided to leverage a bit more online consulting as well. So that was going very well. And basically since then, what I've been doing is I was helping startups, because that's fun. So having people who are like in the 250,000 to £1 million space, because they're full of ambition, and helping them move from talent and ideas to commercialization. Because the thing I do really well is help people get those first sales. That naturally, as you can appreciate, if you know how to sell and you understand dynamics with people, then you tend to be all right at getting your head around the marketing play. And that naturally has led me more into a kind of the marketing world online. And whilst I was by 2015, I was doing a lot of corporate training. So going to businesses is what is my bread and butter at the moment. Is visiting a business in London and showing them the way in terms of sales effectively, so you're not being irritating, basically. And but from 2015, I was like, come on, I must be able to do more online consulting. So I was armed with a Facebook profile, PayPal link, and a Zoom link, and that was it. And I just got cracking. And I kind of, in order to be any good, you have to have a presence, and that's really where I cut my teeth. So then it soon became Instagram, and in 2017, I called it. I was like, something's going on LinkedIn. I could feel it, and so early 2018, 2 years ago, which was only 6 months after they flicked the on switch on video. So no one's been doing this a long time.
Right.
I was like, I'm in. Let's start. So it was like content mostly every day. Then videos started coming, and then I managed to get live last year, and so on, and all of that. And now I have a team of people who are amazing who do the content, so that I can be consistent. And as a result, more opportunities every day. LinkedIn's been a wonderful place, but I feel like everything, just kind of drawing it together, everything has kind of fed into this moment. So that the talks I get asked kindly to do, but also the training and the marketing is all there's this thread that runs all the way through the whole career. And it's really nice that that's been, that's kind of come to this nice point at this moment.
Now, as far as LinkedIn is concerned, so you just decided you saw the opportunity in 2017 pre-video for LinkedIn, and then you hopped on the platform right around the same time. I think 2008, March of 2018 seems to be like the common, like, I joined LinkedIn type of date for a majority of
Woke
individuals.
up, basically. Yeah, absolutely.
And so first of all, how does one get access to do live video on LinkedIn? Is that just like a random
It was they selected some people for the beta test group, and you had to apply if you want it. And so I applied and was rejected, and I was applied and rejected 3 times, I think it was, and I constantly kept pushing back and contesting it. I mean, Seb, I was getting messages like, here are some suggestions. Perhaps try posting some content or try posting videos. I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I've been doing
it feels like a
live-
robotic. It feels like a
Oh,
robot. I mean, it's
Oh, it was, but it was stressful because it was like, of all the people, this is what got me really triggered. I was like, there's all these people who are getting live on a business platform, and I've been running at the point at that time. It was like I've been doing 3 years of live weekly business Q&A shows
right.
every week on Facebook. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
So I was getting really triggered. So in the end, I went to San Francisco in June last year, and I sat down at the HQ and had lunch with the team. I was like, so it's happening, right? And they're like, dude, okay then.
They're like, give them
yeah.
access and get them the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the guy looks like a psycho. So basically, if you want something done, go visit the headquarters and bully them. That's the way.
Wow. Well, no, I've tried. I've applied twice, and yeah, every single time. So
I must say, there's a number of other people who are very close to the relevant people who I was like, look, put in a word. So I was trying. They were getting Richard Moore from all angles. I think at one point we started a social media campaign. There was some kind of hashtag along the lines of how absurd it was that of all people, the guy who does live business Q&As doesn't have live stream. So they soon relented and were like, it's way easier to give him live.
wow, that's fantastic. So I went to San Francisco and I sat down with them and I looked them in the eye and I said,
like, make the call, make it now.
I'm not leaving. Yeah, we're gonna need security. Yeah.
It was like that almost.
So speaking of these weekly live Q&As that you do, how did you start doing that? And let walk me through one of those and what type of things. I mean, it's a variety of content, I'm sure, that takes place. Yeah, but give me some great examples of why, like the meat and potatoes on why, number one, why you continue to do them, because obviously we continue to do shit that gets us excited and produces results, which are also called leads. So walk me through that real quick.
It's my baby. It's one of my favorite moments of the week, and that's why I have it front and center on a Monday, 1 p.m. UK time. Is like, I get to do this thing. I do it every week because people show up every week for it, and which is amazing. But there's a number of really important reasons behind it. I get to stream in that 1 hour in a very efficient way. So that stream is simultaneously LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And then the team, we take it down. It becomes the podcast. It becomes, it goes onto the YouTube channel to host on my website. And then my team scrubs through it and finds micro content, so mini videos. Anything you see on LinkedIn, like a video, that's come from the live stream. So,
so you're not shooting separately.
No, of course not. I don't have time for it. So it all comes from the live stream. All of it, the video you'll see later today is repurposed from Monday's live stream.
And are you creating those videos with Subtitle?
Subtitle, I'm partnered with them. So some of the videos I do, usually the one-to-one kind of chat videos, like a hangout, they're the ones I use Subtitle. But the team led by my man, Dan Norton, he works for Disney, so presumably Adobe Premiere or whatever he uses for that. Yeah, so I have that partnership as a separate thing. But yeah, that means that I can get on with this. There's this crazy thing, right, called doing your job. So I focus on that instead.
Imagine that, huh?
I know, it's right. Like people think that my job is making content and being on social media. That's like this 1% thin veneer sitting on top of it. And I would not be where I am without that team. That really makes a difference. But to be more direct on your question, the way I do it is on a Saturday in the Entrepreneur Business Group on Facebook. So that's my group I've had also since 2015. It's like 4,500 people in it. I do a poll. What do you want Monday's topic to be on? So I always let the people decide. I can go, I don't know, I can probably guess, but if I let them decide, they vote. I do a vote on Instagram as well. The winning topic on the Sunday, I say, well, here's what you chose. Tag, 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 tag. Well done, you win. What's the questions then? So the people decide the topic. The people then submit their questions. And on Monday, it's not just like, here's stuff I think I know. It's you ask the questions and I'm like, here are all of the answers. And, we average 8 questions per week. So it's like north of 1,500 questions so far. One day, I will pay someone to like do something with all of that content because it's all saved, of course. So it's been a wonderful ride, and we're only like 3 months off episode 200.
How long is each episode?
About an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Dude, you have 15. You have 1,500 of them.
No, 1,500 questions across them all.
Got it.
So the total number, we did episode 189 this week.
That's still plenty to write like 3 books.
Oh, it's mad. Yeah, it's an insane amount of content. And the nice thing about it is I originally started it. It was back in like 2016 or 15 or whatever, but whenever it would have been 2016 probably. But when I started it, I was like, right, there's live now on Facebook. I have to. Forget fear. It will help the business, so do it.
Right.
And I remember thinking, this is a really good idea because I know the answers to these questions, but the more I answer these questions, the more I hone my philosophy, the more I hear myself saying the answers, the better I get at answering them. So when someone's asking me a question, it's like, wow, what good answers. Like, yeah, I've had it like 37 times. So it's a really good way of kind of practicing your niche. So I don't step too far outside the areas I know, and and as a result, I get good at answering my thing. It seems to go down really well, so long may it continue.
Now, that's a brilliant strategy. You're spending 1 hour a week to go live and then delegating that 1 hour piece of content to be broken up into micro content for Instagram, for LinkedIn, for your weekly content. It goes on YouTube. It can be turned into a blog post. I mean, there's a plethora of things.
Plus, it's the perfect platform to say, by the way, shout out to Entrepreneur Business Live Miami, tickets are live this week, or there's this new initiative, or hit me up if you want to do this, or I mention a course or whatever. So there's always sales as a result, but most people are like, saw you live, awesome, and they get into orbit around the other content as well. So it's a really wonderful thing to do.
Jack Nicholson's a fan of the show. I told him he needs to join LinkedIn. You know what he said to me?
I eat breakfast 300 yards from 4,000 Cubans who are trained to kill me, so don't think for 1 second that you can come down here, flash a badge, and make me nervous.
All right, Jack, settle down, buddy.
He's just sitting next to you, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in the studio. He makes it to Miami in between Laker games. Yeah, in between Laker games. So what should every business owner, CEO, entrepreneurs, someone who's not contributing to their brand, but maybe should be, what should people be doing in 2020 on LinkedIn to win?
At the very least, you should be starting the process of creating meaningful connections with people. And I'm starting there because I had a meeting yesterday about this with a company, and we're like, let's be under no illusion that 95% of people in business or where they're not going to start posting content because they're shy or they're fearful or they're worried about this stuff. It sounds weird and bad or defeatist even, but there's no point of saying everyone should be making content because the truth is they're not going to. If you dare to, and I dare you to do it, if people dare to make content, the upside is outrageous. And this time will never come again. This is like YouTube 8 years ago, or even more, like 10 years ago, where it's like, go try making a YouTube channel right now. It's not so easy. We're in a similar place with TikTok, where every 5 minutes there's someone saying, wow, I posted a video and I got 700,000 views. Like that's a very strong moment for that platform. But LinkedIn is this sleeping giant, I've been calling it, because like you said at the top of this, everyone joined it like over a decade ago. Everyone you're ever going to do business with is already on it. And the key part is they're all listening to very few people making noise. So if you look at the difference, I know, notwithstanding the fact that TikTok is fun and social and LinkedIn is classically got the context of business, the truth is that you have an audience of people who are watching and making no noise. All the other platforms, the thing you do is you make content. You post a picture, you post a video, whatever. Whereas here on LinkedIn, the thing you don't do is make content. So if you're part of the 3 million or so actually bother, you're getting the slice of the, what is it, like 10 billion impressions per week pie. So it's the thing to remember about the content is that you don't have to go crazy on making videos every day. You could just write a thought. And I was coaching at a university last week up in Nottingham, and I said, if you have an interview, they're going to ask you your opinions on things, right? If you want to get hired, they're going to ask you if you're going to be an analyst working at a financial house, then you need to have an opinion on what's going on in the economy. So when you read the Financial Times, write your comment, or like your commentary on it, and what do you think? Do that 3 times a week. And then what happens is you start becoming this kind of host of conversations and a reason why people want to get into orbit around you. So the content play is huge, but it does start with building meaningful connections with the right kind of people, because that's your distribution, and ultimately that bit matters the most.
So my engagement sucks. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. Now, when Shay comments on a post, then she breaks the fucking internet. But other than that, like I get like maybe between 100 and 300 views per post. How can one individual, and I know that's something, so that's way better than being on LinkedIn for a long time and there being not a lot of, but most posts I would say get around 100 views. So
is that a video or a different type of content?
Video, and I'll post videos, or I'll post like a quote, like a picture, an image, something like that. I've tried to really I've tried to really hone my digital, my direct response copywriting. I've tried to really write with a hook and write with meaningful that's going to keep people going. And in addition to watching the video, they're going to read what's there. I got that tip from Judy Fox. And but I'm still struggling to see the engagement increase, and I'm sure that I'm definitely not alone. Most people have worse engagement than I do. So what's one to do to rectify the situation?
And one side thing I'd throw in before I fully answer your question is make sure there's also a call to action at the bottom of every piece of content. The call to action isn't necessarily go to my website for more information. It's what do you think? What's your opinion? Comment below. People need to be signposted, otherwise they don't think to do it. And it's essential to tell people to write a comment. And if you split test it by doing posts where you don't do that, it's stunning how people don't bother to write something, but you get your like and they wander off and don't bother looking. But to answer directly, there's what I call the 3 C's of LinkedIn. So it starts with content. More importantly is connection building. You connected to Shay, therefore you get the Shay effect. When she writes a comment, you get a little bit of love. I'm connected with Bridget Hyacinth, who has like over 2 million followers on Facebook when I'm connected to her there. So when she writes a comment on one of my posts on LinkedIn, it's the same thing. You get like 200,000 views. Is absurd. But the key part, the third C, is community. So you don't just connect with people who are relevant or that you could sell to, but you also connect up. So you should connect up to people who are like 10,000, 20,000 plus followers who have an active network. They aren't necessarily going to buy your service, but like Shay, they will advocate for you, they will vouch for you, and by validating the tag with them. So when you put a tag into your post, you will get a lot more from them in terms of distribution if they jump in. The community part is the game. Most of your time should be spent on community, which is, whilst the kettle is boiling for your coffee to be made, what you do is you whip out the phone and you DM 3 people who are at that kind of level to say, how's it going? That's all, just to stay tight, like you would with your friendship group offline. It's the same. If I want you to help me move house, Seb, let's pretend I live in Miami. So
Sure.
if I want you to help me move house, it only happens if we're good mates. Otherwise, you're like, no, I don't want to help you.
Right.
So you only do it because I invest in you, and that's the key part. But the other secret sauce is understanding, and this is as far as we need to worry really about the algorithm, understanding that unless you get some engagement in the first half an hour, you might as well kind of not bother. So even if Shay shows up after like 6 hours and I've had no engagement, that post's dead. It's not doing anything. So the first half an hour, I need to focus on babysitting the content and distributing it. So job one, the moment it posts, the moment the post goes live, there's a comment meaningfully tagging perhaps 4 or 5 people or that are in your group who know you, who would bother to actually want to write something, who are relevant to that post, and you give them a reason to do it. So you ask them a question. Importantly as well.
Yeah, I've seen you do that before. Yeah.
You can do it before as well. Yeah. So you've built that good connection with them. But the crucial part as well is when you're writing that comment, check and see if they're online. There's no point doing it with someone who's tucked up in bed.
Right.
I want people who are online right now. So then they're like, there's a new notification. Post is new. They jump in, and that creates some momentum. Otherwise, don't bother. Post and run is failure. There's no point. You got it. That's just how it works for the time being. You have to do that first half hour.
That's good.
And then you can. That's the biggest hack in terms of distribution, in my opinion.
Well, and then so obviously using any type of third-party schedulers and things of that nature are not going to do you any justice with that.
No,
process.
I don't do it. There's no point, because this is one of those important things about social right now is you need to choose. Usually, are you going to be efficient or are you going to be effective? And I choose being effective rather than, hey, look at me. I don't have to worry about my post because they're doing it all for me. Aren't I so automated?
Yeah.
But the truth is, that's not going to get me any attention if I'm not bothering to show up for the post. So it's better to post natively and sit there with it and just give up a bit of time. Because what do you actually want? You want people to start conversations around it, and then you to be the hub where people have these, you're seen as the go-to person for that thing, not just contributing to content and not getting anything beyond that. So it's also full of restrictions if you use something like Buffer or Hootsuite. A great example, even a simple one, is if I want to post an image on LinkedIn natively, it looks really good. If I use Hootsuite, it gives these stupid grey bars down the side, and I can't post more than I think I can only do a maximum of like 4 images, and I can't upload documents, and all of these restrictions. Just do it natively. If you want great results, you've got to put out a bit, just like with your podcast.
Sure. Okay. So consistency and, making sure that, engagement's a huge part of this process too, right? Engaging with other people's content, commenting, liking, sharing, tagging other people that are interested in what stuff you're consuming. Is that another way to be able to, I don't want to say hack the algorithm, but get involved with it?
Well, yeah, the truth is behind all of this content and comments, there are people. And again, take cues from the offline world. If I want people to show up for me, to show up for them. So Like you've got to come down from your throne and go and get your audience. And like Judy Fox is right when she says that, who you've had on your show already,
Sure.
when she says comments are content as well. So if you're showing up on other people's content and writing something meaningful and tagging and writing a question, say, hey guys, come and check out this as well, you get seen as an authority. And it's like, if you want to be a social hub in your social group offline, you're the person who brings everyone together. You're the person who is there for each other. And it's literally the same here. And there's people got to watch out because there are plenty of automated tools that help you look like you're in place. But ultimately, how does your bank account look? And if it's not mapping to engagement, results, and conversion, you're just not putting the right kind of effort in my opinion. And I think showing up for others is a really good way to make them feel what's known as a value debt, where they're like, wow, this person's doing so much for me, I probably should check out their posts from time to time as well. So you get out what you put in, you know?
What about LinkedIn pods?
So, contentious topic, and I'm pleased you brought it up because that will probably be covered in Miami as well. There's a spectrum from, there's actually a group that I'm in of like 6 of us, and we're friends and really like each other's content. So like Q and Mark Meechin, and when we share, when we do a post, it's like, hey everyone, I just did my post. It's not to get engagement as such, it's to share it because we actually care about each other's stuff, through to the classic engagement pods where it's 1,000 people and you pay money and you have to show up for their posts, and it's easy to see them because within an hour they have 625 reactions, they have 300 comments, and they have an insane amount of views. And you have to choose the thing you're after. Are you interested in getting lots and lots of visibility and likes, but potentially no conversion from people who are showing some kind of actual interest? Or do you want to look like you're really popular, but have a feed of, you know, a thread of like 300 comments that say, nice post, Richard, excellent post, Richard. It's all bot related stuff. So you need to choose. I'm not going to say if they're good or bad, because some people genuinely make money by saying, look how great my posts are. They get lots of engagement. But whether or not that's a little bit outside the lines of truth in terms of earned engagement is another question.
Yeah, there's some people that are, I mean, like the amount of views they get on their content, and their content's terrible. So I'm baffled. I don't get it.
Well, when someone gains 10, 15,000 followers a week, it's like you're just gaming it, and good for you. If you feel better, good. But they're the same people that probably jump the moment their phone gives them a notification, and they're constantly seeking dopamine. And it's like, you know, if it works for you, then fine. But ultimately, if you're not getting a strong conversion, is this really worth it? And, you know, each to their own. They're not illegal. So if you want to do it, then fine. But what I'm really proud, like last week, I ticked over 20,000 followers. It's taken me 2 years. So I've never gone super viral. The closest I've come to going viral is someone who has a lot of followers, has written a comment, so it's given it a nice fat boost. But other than that, the content is growing nice and organic. But I'm good at converting and from those interested people, and that's served me really well. So you just got to choose your route. You know,
you got to be human, I think, is what I'm picking up from this.
Without question,
from
that's
this
my
whole
opinion.
LinkedIn
But, you know,
thing.
it's difficult because there's a lot of interesting routes to this. I'm 40 this year, and I've been around the block a bit in business, and I have a sense that I will be around for a long time if I take the route I take. And there are quick wins. You know, it's like people who are trying to make their fortune via Bitcoin. Good for you. Lots of people become millionaires, but it's not sustainable.
Right.
And that's a fact. And so you need to choose something that's a sustainable route. And I'm fine with people leaping ahead, because ultimately you can't beat the consistency. Again, perfect example is you, podcast 10 years. You can't miss with that.
Right. So, you know, again, it's going to take as long as it's going to take to figure out on however it is, especially, I mean, it just blows my mind. Podcasting, very comparable to LinkedIn, a technology well over 15 years old, well over a decade and a half old, just now becoming relevant. Like what?
Yeah.
Like 15 years old, and it's replacing radio. Like it's mind boggling to me. Well, this is all great information, and if you're listening to better understand what you should be doing on LinkedIn, I hope you're taking notes. And if not, just go back and replay this episode all over again. Make sure that you're connected with Richard on LinkedIn. His content is absolute fire. I don't blow smoke up anybody's skirt. It's good stuff. He's going to be here in Miami next month for his event, EBL Live, right? EBL Live, EBL Miami.
Entrepreneur Business Live Miami, yes, EBL Miami.
Entrepreneur Business Live.
It'd be nice to be back again. Last time we were here was September.
I remember that.
Very hot.
Yes, it should be a slightly cooler. It depends. It was 90 yesterday. It was 70 the day before that. So we never really what's going on. So I made friends with my friends over at Poddex. Poddex, I've created a really cool solution. In fact, I got to hang out with Travis this past weekend in Orlando. Homeboy was handing cards out all over the place, laying them all over the place. What they are here is it's a deck of cards. The interview deck that contains 50 unique conversation starting questions to help you take your podcast interviews to the next level and keep your audience entertained. So if you're listening to this and you don't know what to talk about on your podcast, grab yourself a stack of pod decks. You've got episode decks, so I don't know what kind of episode I want, and then I've got an interview deck with questions. So let's wrap things up here with pulling something out of the deck. What do you think, Richard?
I love the idea. It sounds good. As long as you don't make me wear a skirt for you to blow a skirt up.
Yeah. It's not that kind of party. However, you are on your way to South Beach in a couple weeks here. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this is a good one. Pretty simple too. What's your favorite gadget?
Oh, it's this. It's my Samsung watch.
Samsung.
Way more than my mobile. Yeah, I'm Samsung for life. So, which was fun when I was in San Francisco last year. I'm like, what? Where's your iMac, man? So, but yeah, it's a S3, and one of the reasons why it's great as a family man is that if you have a mobile phone, which is going off all day long, this is the TLDR of what's going on in your world. So you can just go, yep, got it. Okay, I see what's happening, and phone says, like, I can pay, like it's like contactless. I can pay for my watch. I can just do everything from it, and like it's my favorite gadget because I can stay in touch without having my phone in front of my face all the time and be much more present. I really, really appreciate it. It's made a big difference.
I never thought about
stuff. You're asking a massive gadget man about this. So my whole house is smart house.
Right.
Lit right now.
Where are you based out of? London?
Yeah, we're just east of London, north of a place called Colchester, about 45 minutes from the city.
I got to introduce you to I have one friend in, I probably have more than one friend in London, but the one that really sticks out that I remember is my buddy, Jeremy Waite.
Okay.
Jeremy works with sustainable brands over at IBM. He's a speaker, author. He's got a podcast called 10 Words, and super cool guy. I don't know where exactly. I think he's actually in London. I don't know, but I'm going to make a connect offline. I automatically associate him with the UK. We met like 7 years ago at a gig in New York City. It was one of those, we got done. We went and ran wild in New York City and was like, wow, that was crazy. Yeah. One of those deals.
It's like 3 a.m. you're having tequila. You know,
yeah. He's married with twins now. So, those days may have halted slightly.
Yes, I have 2 girls. It's not quite the same as it used to be.
It's a whole different ball game once you hang those cleats up, I tell you. Yeah, when you sell the trophies in the garage sale and hang the cleats up, it's a whole different ball game. I'm the complete opposite. I just turned 41 2 weeks ago, and my daughter is a freshman in college. So,
wow, okay.
Yeah. So I'm in a very unique space of very open for whatever is next. And hopefully,
I bet that must be good fun. I'll have to hit you up for tips as they get older then.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, a shotgun is usually top of my list.
Well, I had 2 sisters, either side of 8 in age of me. I was the middle. So I know what it's like having like 2 sisters who are teenagers. And it's like, will you guys just leave them alone? And so I don't know. I'm not how I'm going to be with them.
It's a whole different lens as a father. Let me tell you,
no one's good enough.
Never, ever. Ever. Yeah. Your immediate response is fuck that guy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Get out of my house.
The thing is, you and I have both been teenage boys. So we know what it's like. And you know what your agenda is, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're going to have to come back again to the show. I'm sure we'll do something while you're here in Miami. I look forward to getting involved with the whole panel down there and rocking the mic. for as long as Dr. Dork will let me make it happen. But it's just really cool to see how this community is coming together. I appreciate you making the trip across the pond over here. It's going to be a good time and great. It's going to just, I'm excited to see what is going to come out of this group. It's not like, okay, we did a couple of events like LinkedIn Locals happening now. We've done this whole, like, what really cool stuff is going to go. Remember, all of this began because of EBL. Remember, like, LinkedIn Local, like, figured it all out, came together. My goodness, had that not ever, that's what I'm really excited about, to find out, to go beyond the story, pun intended.
I'm genuinely optimistic that the inverted commas community of people with some sense of influence will do good.
Right.
I think there will be a lot of good that comes from it. And I'd like to hope EBL contributes. Last year, $5,000 went to charities.
Excellent.
Events. So like doing this kind of thing. And people who are doing great should and can stop for a little bit of time to give something back, because it helps other people who need to come up the ladder as well. So
and it makes you feel good.
It does. Really, really, really awesome, to be honest.
Hey, Richard, thanks so much for your time. Come back to the show, will you?
I absolutely will.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Beyond the Story podcast. Be sure to appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show. This way you'll get updates as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. Be sure to appreciate it. Signing off from the podcast, LaunchLab.com studios. We'll talk to you next time.